Chapter 28 The Ties That Bind, 21st of March 2019, 9:30 a.m. I've been up for about 3 hours wondering where to go from here. I don't need to check out until 11 a.m, but I'm not sure what to do next. I could travel down to Exeter. It's about another 50 miles southwest of here, but for what purpose at this stage? I don't have any information about Ernie and Samantha, or Arthur and Mandy. But then again, is it worth going all the way back home, only to have to come all the way back down again if I find another lead? No one in the pub mentioned Arthur and Mandy. Come to think about it, neither did Kenny when I interviewed him. I looked back through the notes of that interview, and although he mentioned having a couple of holidays in Dorset, he never talked much about Arthur or Mandy, only Ernie and Samantha. Why not? They were friends too. Darren mentioned a Mr. Cross who bought the house from Ernie and Samantha, but he moved there in 2005, well after Arthur and Mandy moved away. He's unlikely to know anything. I'm clutching at straws again. And what could I look for in Exeter? I don't have any information at all. No forwarding address, no work details. Another trip to the pub might help. I could ask the locals to see what they could remember about Arthur and Mandy, but from what Darren said, there was no records that they ever owned number 3 Avalanche Road. Are we going back to the start of the 90s there? It would seem highly unlikely I would find someone who remembers anything about them. Oh, I'm going for a walk along the beach to clear my head. 11:30 a.m. Checked out. I'm sat in the car wondering what to do and where to go. I've emailed Darren once again to do a name search in the area and to find out who lived in 3 Avalanche Road at the same time Ernie and Samantha lived at number 1. I also called Mum and asked her to see what she could find, if anything, on social media. Perhaps she could join a few groups in and around Exeter and ask if anyone remembers my mysterious 4. That's another handful of straws I'm grasping at, but she was happy to be involved. She said she would let me know if she finds anything. I've made the decision to drive to Devon and stay in Exeter tonight. I'll just get a hotel when I arrive. No point in booking one just yet. It may be that if I find something else before then, I'll have to go to a different location. You just never know where this case is going to take you. 2 p.m. Another fine meal in the Eight Kings pub in Southwell. I'll miss this place. I could definitely settle here. Steak and ale pie today, with chunky chips and a decent selection of veg. The place is very quiet today, though. None of the faces from last night are in, and even the staff are different. Young, pimply teens, earning their first wage packet, I'm guessing. They were all very polite and pleasant, though, I must admit. A credit to themselves and their parents. But I can't stay here all day. I'll have a wander down to Avalanche Road and see if Mr. Cross is in, and then a walk back up to the church to speak with the vicar. If I get no joy from either of those two, then it's back on the road for me and a trip to the capital of Devon. I just hope Mum can unearth something today, or it could turn out to be a wasted journey. 2:45 p.m. Sat in the car, stunned. It started badly. Mr. Cross was in, and he lived up to his name. No, he hadn't heard of them. No, he didn't know anything about them. No, he said he didn't welcome strangers knocking on his door for no reason, and then he told me to get off his property. He even threatened to set his terrier on me if I didn't. Cross by name, cross by nature. In fact, throughout this whole investigation, he's the first person I've encountered who has been angry, aggressive, or unhelpful towards me. I had forgotten what it was like to be abused for no good reason. In this job, that kind of thing happens all the time. That's another thing I won't miss when I finish. As I headed towards the church, I was in a bad mood, still smarting from the abuse from that rude man. But my anger didn't last. The Reverend was trimming the hedge near the church gate and greeted me with a huge smile, immediately restoring my faith in mankind. I explained why I'd come back to Southwell and what I had found out about 3 Avalanche Road. I asked him if he could remember Arthur and Mandy. He said he didn't know them personally, but he was aware of them, as Ernie and Samantha talked about them regularly, and they often went to Devon to visit them after they moved there. I told him I had exhausted all my leads and didn't know where to go next, but was considering a trip to Devon. Then he said something that stunned me. Ernie and Samantha were always doing things for other people, he said, always on the go. I don't think they had much time for themselves, which was a shame. They were often nipping down to Devon to help out Artie and Mandy, before finally making the decision to up sticks and move down there. I think it was all to do with their son. Their son? Arthur and Mandy had a son? I quickly worked out the calculations in my head. Arthur must have been in his 50s and Mandy mid to late 40s, surely. We chatted for a while longer, but he couldn't tell me anything more than that. I checked my phone when I got back to the car to see if there were any messages from Mum. There weren't, but there was an email from Darren. Hi again, Paul. I ran a check on 3 Avalanche Road as requested. The deed owners from 1986 to 1991 were listed as Mr. and Mrs. Green. They bought the place on the 15th of April 1986, the same day as Mrs. Bainbridge next door. They sold up in May 1991. Hope this helps. Darren.